post-fight video. Whew. Bwtm Sports Reacts. Thank you for joining me on this live video post-fight for Derek Chisora's fight versus Joyce. I told you in the pre-fight and in the body language and in the way Derek Chisora was taking it to Joyce that Joyce looked uncomfortable. I told you Joyce was well, basically Derek Chisora had done a number of him outside the ring, and it was only a matter of time before he did it inside the ring. I said to you, and I warned you all, that Joyce has no form of defense whatsoever, and his kryptonite is the overhand right. And Derek Chisora actually throws a pretty good overhand right, as you've seen for yourself tonight. I didn't see the fight. I listened to it via TalkSport on radio. I sort of enjoy doing that now more than actually watching the fights live. I enjoy that more. Go back and watch the fights after. But I know Derek well enough. I know Derek when he's against the ropes, and when he's backed up against the ropes. He's got a sneaky overhand right that he throws. He can bounce off the ropes and throw shots. Even when you think you got him hurt, he can bounce off the ropes and be dangerous. And I told you, he knocked out a guy that was the size of Joyce, or even bigger still. I'll never tell you who that heavyweight is, but I'm telling you that story. That's how I knew Derek had the power to hurt Joyce and to drop him, and he dropped Joyce. So congratulations to Derek Chisora in beating Joyce. It doesn't come to any surprise to me. I think people kind of don't take into consideration. They see two names, two fighters, you put them together, and you automatically think oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sure, I'm sure you had to hear that. Listen to that. But when two fighters are put together, I don't say, oh, they put this guy and they put that guy together. Automatically think, oh, this guy's going to win. But they don't consider the training teams, the advice in the corner, the management, all these things, experience. And despite all his amateur pedigree, Joyce, as a professional, he's been pretty naive. He's been naive out the ring, and he's been naive in the ring. Keep getting hit with the same overhand right all the time. Naive. Your trainer is useless. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Joyce is a world-class heavyweight. Understand when I say this. He's a world-class heavyweight. He just doesn't have a world-class team. And if you... It's like giving... when you got an expert who can tell you the quality of diamond, or the quality of gold, or the quality of silver, or even the quality of bronze, and they can see that, right? And you take them, they'll show you the true value, and they'll tell you how much you can make of stuff. But if you go to a blind man and you give them the gold, or even not an expert, they're going to devalue what you have. And that's exactly what's going on, Joyce. In fact, there should be a series, and the series should be how many trainers have messed up fighters' careers, because we need to really look into this, right? Joyce is a world-class heavyweight, but he hasn't got a world-class team. He's having to do it all by himself. When you've got a world-class team, you will fight and prepare and study your opponent. Derek Chisora's overhand right is Joyce's kryptonite, and he got hit of overhand right after overhand right after overhand right, and Joyce's boxing IQ is 0. You get hit with an overhand right, you walk into it. You get hit with another overhand right, you walk into it. You get hit with another overhand right, you walk into it. So you use two stops. You don't listen. You can't listen. So if you can't listen, you will feel. It's okay, I can't knock you out, but I'm going to outpoint you. So, what you gain by that, what you gain by fighting like that, obviously that style doesn't work. And if you're going to have that style, you have to put some form of defense behind it. That's why Emmanuel Stewart was great with Klitschko, because Emmanuel Stewart gave Klitschko a defense to fight behind, a defensive system put in place. And I guarantee you, if Emmanuel Stewart was alive today, well, let me rephrase that. If Joyce was under the tutelage of someone like Emmanuel Stewart, he would have beaten Chisora and beaten him easy. Beaten the crap out of him, honestly, because he wasn't hit with the right hands. And you can't get him whacked to the body. And I told you Joyce is weak to the body, yeah? But, You keep whacking the body and whacking the body and whacking the body, the head will present itself, and it presented itself, and you got hit with the overhand right, and down went Joyce. So there's a number of things here. We are losing great fighters to crap trainers, to garbage trainers. That is what we're losing. Heavyweight boxing is a unique a trainer's responsibility. This is not middleweight or welterweight boxing. Heavyweight boxing is very different. You don't train a heavyweight the way you train a middleweight or a welterweight or a lightweight. You don't. You can't. It's with a heavyweight, it's less punches, but more impact. With a welterweight and middleweight, it's more punches. You know, where click bang, it's like a ticking time bomb, or landmines with a heavyweight. I learned this a long time ago of Uncle Bashir, and then I learned it as well of Stacey McKinley, Peter Fury. You just can't just pop the same mentality as a middleweight into a heavyweight's mindset. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. So what we've seen tonight is a boxer who's been totally misguided. Joe Joyce has been totally misguided. Maybe the wheels were coming off the Joe Joyce truck when David Hay left him, and then Sam Jones left him. Why did they leave him? Did they see the wheels of the truck falling off? You get beat by Derek Chisora. That's not good. I said it was a lose-lose situation for Joyce, and his management team again have pulled a boo-boo in this one. They stuck him with Zhilei Zhang, and he got beat twice. Now they're sticking him with Derek Chisora, who's a guy who's lost 13 fights. They're looking to end the career of Joe Joyce. End the career of Joe Joyce. The powers that be. It would seem so. Because I don't know. I could manage Joe Joyce's career better than Adam Morley. I'm not being disrespectful. I can manage his career better. So first and foremost, if I were managing Joe Joyce, Adam Morley would be gone first. The second person to be gone is Ismail Salas. He'd be gone as well. And I would take Joyce down to a heavyweight school. When I mean a heavyweight school, I mean talk like James Ali Bashir, Stacey McKinley, somebody who's worked with world-class heavyweights and produced the goods of world-class heavyweights. That's what it is. I wouldn't go to Rob McCracken. And Adam Booth's style is not for Joe Joyce. Because Booth likes guys who are powerful but have got good footwork and move in and out. Forget Joyce to do that. Too complicated for Joe Joyce. I would even, if it were me, I would take Joyce to George Foreman. I would take George. So once he got beat by Zhilei Zhang, I would have taken him to George Foreman. And guess what? Well, when Wilder got done by Fury, he went to George Foreman. The other person to go and talk to and get for George Joyce would be Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes, George Foreman. Larry Holmes to get a better jab, establish that jab. So Holmes and Foreman both had great left jabs. And Joyce doesn't have that. Joyce needs a ramrod left jab. I wouldn't use Lennox Lewis as a mentor. I wouldn't have him as a mentor. Foreman and Holmes, they're the two guys I would get to talk to Joyce. And I would have Derek Chisora as his manager. That's what I would do. Trainer. I don't know, but I'd look around for heavyweight trainers who've got some sort of heavyweight history of success. But yeah, that's what I would do, because Joyce needs to get away from that nonsense he's in at the moment. It might be too late. There might be too many miles on the clock. He might have taken too many punches, and because that fight with Chisora taking a lot out of Joe Joyce. You can't keep getting hit in the chin like that. So people don't want to. A lot of people in boxing that don't understand boxing. A lot of people in boxing, including trainers, that don't know what the hell they're doing. And that adds managers as well. Why would you stick Joe Joyce in the ring with Derek Chisora? I said it was a lose-lose situation. Derek was always in win-win in that situation. If he lost, well, he's lost 13 fights already or 12 fights already. And if he wins, well, it's a swan song for him. Do you know what I mean? You can quit on it. But Joe Joyce, if he loses to Derek Chisora, you've just lost a guy who's lost 13 fights. And now and also now, if you win the fight, you've beaten a guy who's lost 13 fights. So you don't win anything like that. And that fight is not an establishment fight. How do you establish yourself against Derek Chisora? You got knocked up by a world-class elite fighter in Zhilei Zhang. And now you're coming back and fighting Derek Chisora. For what? That and look at the guys they picked. They picked Zile Zhang, a southpaw, which Joyce struggles with, and then they picked Derek Chisora, who has an overhand right, and Joyce is vulnerable to the overhand right. So you tell me what sort of management is that? I mean, even Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that you ain't got a clue what you're doing. So that's it. Yeah, I'd sack his manager. Well, it's no point because Joyce backs him. And when Derek was saying a lot of stuff about the team, and people, and I warned you all about that team. I warned you. And I'm not even in the boxing world, and I'm outside the boxing world. I can see the crap that's going on. And you come into ring 20 stone. 20 stone. I told you, Joyce's head is not right. And when he fought Zhang the second time, he came in too heavy. And so he's coming heavier. And don't you understand, you're slow as molasses, and you're going to go and put yourself as 20 stone, and you think you're going to get faster. I don't know what school of boxing you, Joe Joyce, and your team are going through. I don't know where. I don't understand. I mean, sure, your strength and conditioning coach will say, look, mate, the heavier you are, the slower you're going to get. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe in their world, they think that if he gets heavier and he's bigger, that he's not going to get knocked over. No, you're more likely to get knocked over because you don't move your head anyway. So rather you work in getting bigger and being heavier, why don't you work on your defense a bit? So for me, Joe Joyce, they've got him just where they've got him where they want him now. And if he was depressed after the Zile Zhang fight, now wrap your head, go home and wrap your head. You got beat by a guy that got knocked out by Dillian White. And that's not a disrespectful thing. A guy that knocked out by David Haye, your manager. Right? You got beat by a guy that got beat by Ajit Caballero, a guy that got beat by Joseph Parker. I could go over a list of names that Derek Chisora's been beaten. I got beat by Tyson Fury. I could go over a list of names that Derek Chisora got beat by. But he beat you at 40 years old. Not even the best Derek Chisora. People said, well, back in the day, Joyce would have beaten the best version of Chisora. Goodness me. If the Chisora that beat, if Chisora that fought Vitaly Klitschko, that Chisora would have knocked out this Joyce. Any version of Joyce. You're on a good run with these predictions. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little older. Maybe getting a little wiser in my time. I don't get caught up in the media hype anymore. Don't get caught up in the media hype. Take the media bullshit to one side. They've just got an agenda. And you could see when they got in the ring straight away, the fans were behind Chisora. Joe Joyce promotionally has been sold awfully to us. He's been sold terribly. He's not connected with the fans. He's not connected with the fans. He's not connected with the boxing world. He just isn't. And that's to do with his management team, his PR, whatever PR that is. His team are a joke. I'm sorry. It is what it is. It's not being disrespectful, but the questions I'll ask you. Your job is to manage? Well, manage. You didn't manage. Your job is to promote? You didn't promote. And when I talk about promote, I'm not about Frank Warren now. When I talk about promote, I'm talking about the people that will be the voice box for Joe Joyce. That's what I'm talking about. I hope that we learn lessons, because boxing fans, the majority of you don't learn your lesson. You don't learn your lesson about rematches. You don't learn your lesson. It's the same old crap all the time. If you put some more weight, he's going to be better. That's garbage. That only works, right? Here's an example where it did work. Is when Holyfield fought Bo the first time and he came in too light. I think it was 14 stone. 14. It was too light to fight Bo, and he relied on speed and reflexes. But then suddenly you decide to put weight on against Bo in the rematch, and you drop Bo. No, you drop Bo in the third fight. In the second fight, you hurt Bo and almost knock him out until the paraglider comes in. And that night, Bo would have got knocked out for sure if it wasn't for the paraglider. And then the third fight, even dropped Bo, even though Holyfield got knocked out in the end. I was saying that a prime Chisora would embarrass that obnoxious mug from Essex, Johnny Fisher. Yeah, he's on the hype train as well. He's another one on the hype train, right? But I like his personality, Johnny Fisher. He seems a balanced guy. But you know what the problem is with British boxing? And I'm going to tell you what it is right here. Here it comes. Here's your exclusive. Let me turn my volume up for this one. We hype people up for doing Jack Diddley squat in the professional ranks. They knock a couple of guys over, and we talk about world class and talking about European level and the second coming of the next this. Just look at the people for who they are and what they actually do in the ring. Not what the media hypes them up to do, not what the promoter hype. That's the promoter is meant to do the hyping up, right? But us as the customer, the buying customer, the viewing customer, should take a good look at these fighters. Who are they fighting? Look at the opposition. Look at the trajectory of their careers. Look at who's in the world top 10 or the world of top 5, or look who the heavyweight, the middleweight, the cruiserweight, or the bridgerweight, the lightweight, the featherweight. Look who the champion of the world is. Look who's regarded the best in the world, and kind of set those standards up towards the guy that's coming up in the ranks. Look, Edgar Berlanga, he's been on this channel before, right? And he's been on this channel a few times, and I love Edgar. I think he's got a great personality. He's got no chin. He's got no chin. Now he's going to go in the ring with a heavy hitting Canelo. When Canelo hits that chin, you're going to see what I'm saying. And Berlanga was banging people out. Oh, he's got a first round knockout. He's bang. But who are the people he's not banging out? Then he fights somebody who's half decent, drops him. And I told you he was chinny. He gets dropped. He got dropped in his spine. He was chinny. Berlanga's chinny. And he's always thinking about his own punches and not thinking about anybody else punching him back. So eventually you come across somebody who's going to chin you. And that guy now is Canelo. So unless Canelo gets hit with something stupid, Berlanga's getting banged out within 6. Anyway, big up Chisora. Another one who doesn't fight, who fights with no defense, is this guy Martin Bakole. Fights with absolutely no defense. He hasn't improved since he fought Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter chinned him because he didn't fight with defense. Now he's going to go against another guy who's got fast hands and a powerful puncher. Anderson is a guy I think is green. He's a novice, and I actually think that he himself is overrated. But they're looking for the next big heavyweight thing. There's a couple of guys I'm going to do some videos on that I really do rate and think are the future. But I'm sorry, Joyce. I think that we may have seen the best of Joyce under a bad trainer, and I think that whatever he does he go back to small hall? I don't know, but I know what I would do. I'd sack it if it was me tomorrow morning, and they said, "What can you do with Joyce?" I'd sack his whole team. I'd start again, and I would repackage Joyce. I'd cut his hair. He'd just go bald, right? I'd give him a cross-arm defense, Joyce, cross-arm defense. When punches are landed, cross-arm defense, and his job would be to listen. I want you using the jab to establish the jab, center of the ring, and I want you to force guys back. And when they're against the ropes, that's when I want you throwing your punches, right? I want you to control people with your jab. So you're gonna have to have an awesome left jab, and use your jab like how Lewis used to use jab, or like Holmes used to use the jab. Once you've got a left jab, it will take you around the world. A right hand will take you around the park. A left hand will take you around the world. So it will take you around the globe. So that's what I'd be telling Joyce. You'll be fighting to a strategy. You'll be doing a lot more holding. So you'll be breaking guys' rhythm up. People's rhythm don't get broken up by Joyce. So if they want to run, they hit 2-3 shots. They get confidence up. Now with what Lennox used to do, what Vitali used to do, what Vladimir used to do, is they tie you up. Not because they're boring fighters, and a lot of people don't understand it because they're not educated in boxing. They think it's just rah rah rah, punch punch punch. That's boxing. What it is when you tie a guy up, it gives you time to rest, calculate what you're going to do, what your strategy is, push them off, and then they have to reset. And when they're resetting, you put your game plan into place. When a guy lands, bam, bam, 2 shots, 3 shots, they're in the commanding position. Do you understand? So therefore, you're not holding, or you're holding very few times. So you're not frustrating the other guy. Instead, you're the one taking the punishment all the time. So for me, Joyce, you got to learn how to fight like a proper heavyweight. And you're not fighting like a proper heavyweight. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know. You're a brawler, but you don't. I don't anyway. Not my business. Not my business. You're an Olympian, right? You should be a gold medalist. Do you box like a gold medalist? They used to call George Foreman the mummy, but no, George Foreman ain't no mummy. You the mummy. I used to call you the British George Foreman, but I'm sorry, Joe, mate. I suggest you take. You can't take too much time off, but my suggestion to you is take a good look at your team around you and ask yourself this question. And if you're not sure, get Derek in the room with you. Get Derek over 5 guys and ask him his opinion. And he'd tell you, fire your team, fire your coach. Because when you're in a position to win the fight, you got dropped. And that's the difference between British level, European level, and world level. It's those small percentages. Just getting the small things right makes a difference in the big picture. And by the way, Joe, you've got to address the Zile Zhang thing. You have to address it. You have to address it. You didn't address it, and that's why what happened tonight happened to you. Now move on. You haven't moved on, mate, because you've got the same crappy team around you, so you can't move on. You know, it's like doing a dump in the toilet, and you know the room is stinking, and you think, Joe, you've did a dump, mate. You have to flush the toilet. Like, no, move on, Joe. The piece of dump is still in the toilet, and you've not wiped your ass, and there's dump in the toilet. You need to flush the toilet and wipe your ass. And Joe's like, no, move on. No, but if you don't flush your toilet and wipe your ass, you're gonna leave a real stink in the room, and that stink is what's going on now with Joyce. That stink is ignorance or arrogance or deluded or lack of education, whatever it would be. And I don't mean education meaning numeracy and arithmetic or anything like that. I'm talking about lack of boxing IQ. Somebody has to sit down and talk, and maybe David Hay and Sam Jones have sat down and spoke to George Joyce and said, look, bro, you cannot keep fighting like this. You're going to have to cover yourself. You can't keep taking shots like this. And he's like, I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, good luck with that one. I'm out of here. I'm not investing any more time or money on you because, my friend, you are going to get absolutely smashed to bits soon. You can't keep fighting like that. That is exactly what it is. Boxing fans don't like to hear the stuff that I'm saying, but I've had my heart broken too many times on false promises and people who won't listen. Joe Joyce, you don't go back to the drawing board. You are the drawing board, my friend. You are the drawing board. You can't go back to the drawing board. You are the drawing board. Because it's the buck starts with you, and you have to admit that you have made some mistakes. They can still be rectified in the heavyweight division. You know, they can still be rectified. Well, once Fury and Usyk fight out, and if Usyk remains champion, retains the championship, then those belts will get put to one side and the other. And then there's opportunity. You can always fight for a title. But by then, you should have a better team with you. You know, have a couple of fights. But a couple of fights where we see your defense improving. If you can do that. As for Chisora, I don't want to see that guy in the ring again. I don't want to see him in the ring again. You know, God gave him strength to get through that fight. And that should be enough. That should be enough. Because all you're doing is coming back to get brutally knocked out and further injury. What happened to Joyce? He got dropped by Derek Chisora, and Derek Chisora won the fight on a unanimous point decision. Typical Joe Joyce, chin in the air, getting hit with overhand rights. Joyce was on the verge of knocking Chisora out, and Chisora landed a huge overhand right, which I warned people of. I warned people that Chisora can bounce off the ropes and land the overhand right. He looks like he's hurt. He'll land the overhand right, and he's knocked a guy out bigger than Joe Joyce. That's all I'm saying. And he was a top heavyweight at one point. I'm not telling you who that is. That's not my business to tell you. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed my reaction. And people say to me, do you think Chisora can beat Joe Joyce? Yes. Chisora's got faster hands. Chisora's fought better opposition. And Chisora knows how to, he knows how to Yeah, like his last few fights, I remember you were high on Joyce for a while. What went wrong? I tell you what went wrong. What went wrong is they made that stupid mistake to fight Zile Zhang. That's when I knew that the team was stupid. The Zile Zhang fight was the problem. But he fought the Parker fight, and I didn't rate Salas. And he was taking away punches from Joseph Parker. I thought this has to change. If it doesn't change at top level, you're going to get absolutely smashed to bits. Then he brought in Zile Zhang, and I had been told, believe the script. Somebody told me Joyce is going to fight Zile Zhang. He's going to get stopped by Zile Zhang, and in a rematch, he's going to go into rematch, and Joyce is going to get knocked up by Zile Zhang. And true to form, it happened. I don't like the way Joyce's career has been managed. And I was explaining earlier in the video, I don't like the way his career has been managed. It's been mismanaged. He's probably one of the most mismanaged heavyweights in the world. He's one of the most If you look at Deontay Wilder, he's one of the best managed heavyweights in the world. Joyce is the most mismanaged heavyweights in the world, and he is an actual a silver medalist. Should be the gold medal. Do you think Zhang ruined him? No, I think his management ruined him because he didn't have to fight. Zhang was not a fight he had to have. He didn't have to fight Zhang. He could have avoided Zhang. Chisora slipped out the way of Zhang. Joshua wanted nothing to do with Zhang. So I don't know why Joyce, yeah, I'll fight him. Joyce has not got, I'm sorry, they say Joyce is intelligent, but I don't know what intelligence that is. It's not boxing IQ intelligence. And he hadn't prepared, for I understand, for what I hear on the grapevine, he hadn't prepared for southpaws. I think Salas is a true style. Salas is not a good trainer. That's it. Not for heavyweights. You need to have a heavyweight trainer. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. So when you get a chance, Andre, go back and check the video out. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, great to see you, Andre. Great to see you all in the room. Bwtm supporters. Leave comments in the comment section. Share and like this video. And if you can, get it across to Joe Joyce. Joe, Emmanuel, my friend from Buff. I was talking about you when I was in Nigeria, and I was talking to Emmanuel. So when you get a chance, reach out to Emmanuel. All the things I'm saying now is what I was concerned about your career with. That my words have come back yet again. You know, there comes a time you got to put the media to one side, put the fans to one side, and think about your own career and making the choices that are suitable for you, and they're going to get you to that goal. You want to become heavyweight champion of the world. You want to be heavyweight champion of the world. You want to be a world champion. Then Joe, listen to me. Start making world class decisions to manifest a world championship. Start manifesting world class decisions. And if you can't do it, get somebody around you who can, who's been there and done it. Talk to a George Foreman. Reach out to Larry Holmes. Ain't nobody in your team's going to have the experience of those two guys I just mentioned there. Elite heavyweights who've come back from defeats. George Foreman in particular. You need to talk to them. Ishmael Salas can't teach you nothing than to samba dance and hit a tennis ball. What the hell are you hitting a tennis ball for? What the hell are you hitting a tennis ball for? Leave that for the middleweights to do and the lightweights to do. What you need to be focusing on is slip, 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 bang. That's what you need to be working on. Moving your damn head. Getting that chin tucked behind that shoulder. Up, you flipping. I'll teach you. Tuck that chin behind your shoulder. Or shoulder behind your chin. There, there. You're using a jab, throw your jab here. I'm just basic things to do. So you do not get hit. You do not get hit with that right hand you're getting hit with all the time. It's basic stuff, man. You throw the jab, make sure you got the shoulder covering, tucking over that chin, and keep that chin tucked down when you throw the jab. Jesus. Anyway, I've done talk tonight. Let me go back to my world of cricket and mind my business. I'm out. Thanks for watching. God bless you all.